Hello, this is Broyar, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play series for UBoat. You might be wondering why I'm starting a brand new series after doing a few episodes of our last series. The reason for this is because I have gone to UBoat University. I got my bachelor's degree. It's a bachelor's in arts, don't judge me. But I've done lots of research, lots of practice, lots of just stuff about this game. I've probably watched 20 hours of videos, probably played about 20, 30 hours on my own, just trying to learn the game a bit more so that I can come back to you guys and just be a little bit more knowledgeable overall. And I think that's where I'm at. So it does not mean I know everything. That's why I said explicitly bachelor's degree. I don't got my master's. I don't got my PhD. I don't know everything about this game. I'm still going to make mistakes. There's still a lot to learn, but hopefully far fewer mistakes. And at least we know the basics now, and that should give us the chance to be successful here. Let's find out. Let's go ahead and jump into a game and see where we go. I do want to call out before we jump into this. If you're going to play this game for the first time, I highly recommend jumping down here and playing a Type 7. Not necessarily Type 7C, although the Type 7C is the bread and butter U-boat. That's the one that's the U-boat they made the most of during the war. You can even start with the Type 7B, and that's at least better. It's significantly better, big step up from the Type 2s. But I'm going to start with the Type 2. If you do want to start with a Type 2 and don't want the restriction of all the reduced fuel usage, you could consider the Type 2D. It's got about 4 times the fuel capacity of the Type 2A. But I'm going to show you how to get the most out of your fuel from a Type 2A if you want to play along. So we're going to do Type 2A. We're going to start at the very beginning. We're going to work our way up. We're going to earn the Type 7C someday, hopefully, if we can survive. I will say, again, a few practice sessions. I'm definitely getting better at finding ships. Getting a little better about sinking ships, although still got some stuff to learn there. Evading ships, as in dying, I'm about 50-50. So hopefully we don't die here. We'll find out. But let's jump right into the Type 2A here. We are going to play on hardcore, and we are going to play on expert. So nothing changing there. I'm not going to do the tutorial. We can turn that off. Everything else should be the same, I think, so we're good with that. I think I like voice 3 the best. I do want to go with, I think that one I like. Let's see, what else do we want? Let's give him a little bit more hair, facial hair. Let's give him brown hair. Everything else I think is just fine, though, the way it is by default. And, of course, we're going to change our name. And let's jump into this. Let's have some fun. We're going to skip over that. If you want to watch that, you can see that in the first video I think I did, the very first series. But we're going to jump right in here and get going with this right away. Okay, so I know some people like to watch me learn and like to learn along with me. I'm going to try to explain everything that I have learned and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing so that you guys can also kind of learn along the way as well, just maybe without the hours of me struggling for a bit. And of course, there's still plenty of for me to learn. I have not learned everything, I promise. Here is our first little U-boat here. Obviously the same one we had last time. Looks good. Nice rainy day here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go check our crew. Because I want to see if we have a merchant. Tough, expert, diver, tough. No merchant. Ooh, it's going to be a little bit fun. It's not game breaking, but it is nice to have a merchant on board so that we can, we actually have a diver. Cool. It is good to have a merchant if we can, because it'll allow us to have cheaper goods, but we'll get by without it. We're going to be fine without it. It's just nice to have. Let's go ahead and go and get our goods started, because some of them typically take a little bit longer to load, especially if we have a torpedo in process right now. Let's go look at our torpedoes. We do have a torpedo in process. It is one of the good ones. I do want steam torpedoes. And the reason I want steam torpedoes is because it's going to allow me to see where our misses are, how bad our misses are, things like that. We're going to go ahead and grab in a couple of you. We're going to grab in one of you. Thankfully, we have plenty of steam torpedoes here. And then once this one gets moved over, we will take care of that as well. Items. I mean, of course, diving suit, since we have a diver, would be cool, but we don't need it right this second. And then fuel, we're good. Ammunition, we're going to be okay on ammunition. I'm not worried about that. food. Let me just bring these guys down. I'm okay with what we've got there. Spare parts are missing. I've got spare parts. Do I want to grab more spare parts? I do want to cap this out. Just to make sure we have plenty of those. I do want to grab a bunch of these. As many as you've got, because those are pretty cheap to have. I have had one outing where this actually came in handy. Spare parts, we might get more spare parts, but before we do that, let's go ahead and get some food. Make sure we have a good variety of food available to us. I mean, we'll grab some potatoes. They're free. We'll grab... I already got that. Let's grab some cheese. Let's grab about, I don't know, 20 cheese. Just to have a little bit of variety here. Maybe about, I don't know, 40 vegetables, something like that. That all looks good. So that gives us plenty of variety of food. I do want to go ahead and get at least one more spare part to fill out that one. And I think that's fine. We're down to 960 bucks. I still need to get one more torpedo. And I think that will be perfect. So let's go there. Goodbye. Let's go to... I'm going to get our mission yet. Let's go ahead and set up our crew real quick. So I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of trial and error on how I want to set up the crew. So what we are going to do is we're going to grab both of our... Let me actually... Can I move people around? Let's get everybody grouped up. Okay, 2 engineers. There's our... Yeah, this all looks good. I think... Does that sort it out here? It does. Cool. All right, I want 2 watch officers. We're not going to use the chief boatswain right now. We're going to do 2 watch officers, and we're going to do 2 chief engineers. No mechanics at the moment. So, chief engineers, that allow us to kind of focus on managing the engines and also... Spoiler alert, managing the navigation. That's what's going to allow us to get the fuel that we need to get where we need to go. As far as watch for contacts, we don't need that to be set at the moment. I do want to go ahead and just bump this up to about, 8 or so. It's all relative, so it doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to leave you guys on calm down. If that does come up, I do want you all to be able to calm some people down. Anything else we need to do in regard to anything else, any of this other things? No, I don't think so there. Chief engineers, they're primarily going to be working on repairs, and then they're going to be working on managing the engine, so that all looks good to me. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and bump this up to 10, which I believe is... There we go. Let's say I can hit the setup to 10, and then we're going to have you primarily doing that with a secondary of that. And I think that looks good to me. Okay, I think all that is fine. And now we got to set up our schedules. Oh, before we do that, I do want to set this to 0. I don't want any of our normal crew members looking through a periscope at a weird, awkward time. When we're just below the surface, avoiding destroyers, and suddenly some crew member walks over there, sticks up the periscope when we don't want it. That's probably a bad thing. All right, scheduling. Scheduling, the way scheduling is going to work, we're going to do 6-hour shifts. So we'll do off there, on there, off there, and on there. And then we're going to alternate with our other guy. That way, at any point in time, we have one watch person and one chief engineer at all times. Now, for our radio men, we're going to do 3-hour shifts. So we're going to start. Actually, I'm going to start with on. I think off, on, off, on, off, on. And if it does what I did last time. My boat schedule should already be set from previously. It is not, actually. Okay, that's weird. I've had this usually set in the past. All right, so we're going to dive first, and then we're going to be up for 4 hours. So we're going to dive, be up for 4 hours, dive, be up for 4 hours, dive, be up for 4 hours. So the reason why we have the shift is this is going to be allow us to do the hydrophone checking without having to babysit it. We're going to be able to just set the dive schedule, and the hydrophone checking is going to just happen automatically. And the reason it happens automatically is... If you look at this, again, we got 6-hour blocks still, but 2 hours down, 4 hours up. And if we go look at our schedule here, 2 hours down, for the first 2 hours down, Harold Von Dresky will be listening to the hydrophone. And then as soon as we come up, we'll be up for an hour, which means he can send radio messages for an hour, and then he'll sleep, and then we'll rinse and repeat. And so that allows us to have 2 hours of periscope checking, and then 1 hour of radio checking, and then, again, the rest of the time is just us cruising on top with nobody at the radar or anything like that, but that should be okay. All right, so that takes care of all of that, and then we want to go ahead and assign 2 people to all of our officers. And the reason for this is, I will make sure I explain that here in just a moment, is because that's what's going to enable us to take our microscopic amount of fuel and still be able to do full missions. If we come over here and we look at Mr. Lime Cooler here, you can see that with 1 sailor, fuel usage drops by 10%. With 2 sailors, all gears are unlocked and fuel usage drops by 30%. That's going to extend our range quite a bit. And the same thing was true about navigation. If we can go ahead and assign, let's say assign you to a navigation just for a second. If we go over the navigation here, 1 sailor gives us better navigation and saves 10% more fuel and energy. 2 sailors saves 20% more fuel energy. Combining these two gets us 50% more efficiency. And that's really what's going to allow us to get to our patrol zone, be able to zip around our patrol zone, even potentially chasing after some of the targets that are ahead of us and things like that. We're going to have plenty of fuel for this entire first patrol just by setting those 2 things. And basically by alternating these 2 at any given point in time, we'll have 4 sailors helping each of these guys at all times. Before I forget, let me go ahead and make sure that we have... Well, I'll do that as soon as we get out into the open water. I was going to put the food into the cook's area, but we'll do that later. I do want to go ahead and make sure that we are loading that torpedo. Who's loading the torpedo? Is it because I changed things around? It's not loaded yet. Where is it? Oh, it is loaded. Magical. I'm not sure how we skipped that, but okay. Now we have all steam torpedoes in the tubes and 2 torpedoes in the bow storage. Perfect. It is exactly what we wanted. I don't know how we just skipped having loaded. I don't think I've been sitting here long enough for it to be loaded automatically. No complaints. Let's go get our first mission, guys. Obviously, the first mission is kind of like a get out there and test mission, but we definitely want to get it done because it's going to get us some reputation, which will allow us to have more officers, and that's going to be really good for us. All right, where do we want to go? I kind of like these up here because I feel like we get a lot more ships going from Bergen back over to the United Kingdom. Maybe we'll take this one, something like this. This is good centralized area. That way, if we get anything around the outer edges, we won't be too far from that. And I think I'm okay with that. So let's select this first patrol here. Gets us a full reward point. And I think we've got everything set up the way we want to. Let's go ahead and stop direct orders so that our main leader goes back. I think once we get out of port, the navigation guy will be back into where he needs to be. If I read correctly, when you're in port, since you already know where you're going, you don't typically have the navigation guy actually sitting there. Let's go get out on our patrol. Very, very first patrol of this new me. Hopefully I have learned something at my college degree at UBoat, University of the North. Let's go. We are going to go ahead and... Oh, I need to set up my little gears and things. We're going to leave that one there. You're going to pop out over here to the left. So I have you out all the time. You also pop out over here to the left. And then we'll bring you out as well. Something like that. Close enough. It's a little bit... I hate that this one overlaps a little bit more than the other ones, but I can scoot you over a little bit, kind of line up that a little bit. It's fine. And now we can have all of our gears open and still have a good size map and everything. Let's go... We'll go forward 3 just to get out of port. And then we will make some adjustments once we get out of port. I think I got it, grabbed everything. I hope I did. Leave the port. Alright, we are out. Smoke over the horizon. Okay, that's not important. Let's get in here and let's go ahead and set up our food real quick. Just before I forget. And that way we have some variety. We'll put some fruits over here. And then we will bring some... Actually bring some potatoes back. Let's bring about half of those potatoes back. And then we will bring over some meat. That should give us quite a bit of variety. And should make our guys much happier. Yep. Alright, we're going to go ahead and go back to the map. Because we don't need to do this, just for the record, we could stay at a higher speed. But just to kind of help things out a little bit of us getting into position and having plenty of fuel, I'm going to go ahead and go down to speed 1, just because we can fast forward at max speed here. And I don't need to go faster. Like, it doesn't matter if it takes us a little extra longer to get to our patrol area. I just want to make sure we have maximum amount of fuel in our patrol area. And by the way, you can now see that our engine guy has 2 people and our navigation guy has 2 people. And that's going to give us a maximum amount of fuel. I mean, we're doing our entire route right now. We're still going to have tons of fuel left over. As you can see, we have 8,200 kilometers at our current usage. And now that's at speed 1. And our total route's only 1,800 kilometers. So it's all going to work out just fine. Anything else I need to do? I feel like I'm missing something, but I guess I'm not. We're not going to do our dive schedule until we get to our patrol area, or unless we, we find some message that says there's some people coming along. We are, spoiler alert, we are officially now at war. Hostile actions on the part of England and France are not to be expected. Again, spoiler alert, it is going to happen. So, for those of you who don't know how the World War II ended, there might be some spoilers, just FYI. Hostilities with the United Kingdom. To all submarines, English ships are to be considered hostile with immediate effect. At present, all first-wave submarines are instructed to attack freighters in accordance with the terms of the prize rules. As long as the prize rules are enforced, cargo ships flying the English flag may be attacked without warning. So good stuff. Okay, we should get one more message here telling us about France. As of 1700 hours today, we are at war with France, but we don't want to aggravate them too much, so we are not allowed to actually have hostile actions against French ships. So that should be the end of the main messages here. Obviously, you get those every time you start a new run. As soon as we get to our patrol area, we will now send our report here. We got an important message. We've decided to implement a change in the assigned squares for your U-boat. Well, great. Thank you. Please head to squares AN43 to AN58 and perform patrol inside of them now. Okay, well, that kind of puts us dead center of where we wanted to be, but that's all right. We'll just come down here, and we'll just kind of do a little bit of a patrol in this area. Not a big deal. And we can now actually set up our, do our dive schedule. So that way we can start listening for boats. And to do the dive schedule, if you don't know how to do that, is first you set up the dive schedule like I showed you. And then you come down over here and you just click this dive schedule button, which is a little cut off a little bit, but that's sorry about that. But that is what's going to have you go down when it wants to and come back up when, things like that. So should be pretty self-explanatory. I think we're just gonna stay at speed 1. Unless we find a ship. I want to make sure we have enough fuel to like literally go flank speed, chasing down ships if it comes down to that. We'll go ahead and leave all the navigation stuff like that turned on for the moment. And let's go ahead and just start zipping along here. And eventually, in theory, we should find some ships. You can see our hydrophone range is about the size, a little bit more than the size of a square. So it definitely helps us. If we go to the middle of each of these squares, basically, or kind of around each of these squares, we should be able to get some good coverage here. We do have our propellers here, 223 degrees. Perfect. And we want to put you back on listening for contacts, please. Our first contact. Where's he at? Okay. 223. All right. So 223 degrees, which if we go to grab our thing here, we can see 223 would be down. It's actually behind us. Back over here. 223 is right back over here. So right about there. It's probably on the edge of our hydrophone if I had to guess. But we will check that here in just a second. So best way to check this, and this is just, we're going to chalk this up to our hydrophone guy being really good at his job. And that's just the way we're going to approach it. You guys can judge however you want, but that is going to be how we're going to say is our guy's good at his job. Because first up, when you click on this, it centers the screen on where that hydrophone contact is. That is just part of the game, guys. We can see he's about 30 to 50 kilometers out. So obviously my range here is a little bit higher than we need to be. But that's okay. We're going to find out exactly where this guy's at. And we're going to find out which direction he's going. And we're going to be able to plot an intercept course. So first up, at 1 kilometers, there is no intercept available. And this actually, spoiler alert, tells you exactly where the guy is currently. So if we put this here, we'll call this A1, just because it's our first ship. Right there is the ship at the moment. Now, if we were to go at a maybe much higher speed, if we can get an intercept, which we apparently cannot, He must be moving away from us. Interesting. That's actually going to make this a little more challenging. Oh, we actually see where he's at for a brief moment. Is it saying the intercept's way down here? That must mean he's going that direction. I'm surprised that we don't have an intercept at max speed. But supposedly he's probably going that direction. It does say medium speed. I mean, I don't know how accurate that actually is. If we want to play off of this or not, we could try it. You know, let's try it. Let's just see if that actually tells us approximately where this guy's at and kind of which direction he's going. Because we should be able to chase him down on the surface. So that's the reason why I'm not super worried about things here. All right, we're gonna put that there. That's his possible course that we think he's going on. And now we're gonna come in here and we're going to get rid of some of this. Oh, sorry, I did the wrong one. It's actually that one's him. So possibly that's his course, something like that. We are now the way we're going to figure out an intercept is we're going to assume that he's going about 7 knots, and we're going to assume that we can go about 13 knots on the surface. So we're going to use those numbers here in just a moment. Let me draw a line here because this might change here in a moment, just so we have a line to him. And let's go ahead and plot our intercept here, assuming he's going that direction. So if he's going that direction, the way we're going to plot an intercept first is we are going to get him we're going to do vector intercepts. And vector intercepts are something I've learned. Well, actually I knew about them. I've used them in the past, but it's been a long time. And the way I probably do it today is I would probably just draw triangles and do like, angle, calculations, things like that. Doing it with the circles and doing the vector intercepts like this is way easier. It's the same thing as what I've done in the past, but it's just an easier way to do it. So that's his 7 kilometers. It's all relative. I could have done 70. I could have done 700. It doesn't matter. 7 kilometers. And we just need to do our relative, which is 13 kilometers. And that is going to be our relative range. And now to plot the intercept angle, we're going to come back over here to the angles. And we're going to go from him out to our circle. This feels weird. Why would it not let me? I don't think he's going this direction, because this will let me have an intercept. There's definitely an intercept here. If he's only going 7 knots and I'm going 13 knots, there's definitely an intercept here. All right, well, we'll play it out. So our angle currently, as it's listed, is 30.5 degrees. I'm curious. Is it because if I was going 7 knots, it would be... Maybe it's not possible at 7 knots. Maybe that's all it is. Well, I'm not going to overthink it. 30.5 degrees. We're gonna kind of head this direction and see if we can find this guy. And if we can't, then we'll know that our guesstimation of where he might have been is incorrect. So that's our angle of intercept. And if we just draw a line from our U-boat through the angle of intercept over here, which for some reason it is not quite centering on the U-boat the way I want it to, but it's going to be close enough. It should be fine. Somewhere around here, and we just got to get closer before we can actually determine where the actual intercept is. Somewhere around here should be our intercept. I'm going to call this IA1, intercept for A1. Around there is where we're guessing the intercept is going to be. So we're going to go ahead and plot our course for this direction. We're going to go ahead and surface so we can actually get the 13 knots that I mentioned a second ago. And we're going to probably cut about half of this distance and see if he's still where we think he is. If we cut about half this distance, which we're at 51 kilometers, so if we go about, 25, 30 kilometers, something like that, he should have made it about half his distance, which means put him right about there. This is my guess of where he's going to be when we're all said and done. We're just going to leave it at 0.4. That's fine. Let's go ahead and get surfaced, go full speed, and let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit here. Now, if he's not over here, then he was going a different direction, and we just never had an intercept in the first place. Or at least our hydrophone guy was not able to calculate a good intercept. That's about halfway. Let's go ahead and go periscope depth and see if we can find this guy again. And ideally, we've kept him at the same bearing from us. So let's make sure you get back for listening for contact. Sorry, wrong button. There we go. Alright, we got a guy at 342. 342 is right over here. So he might be going a little bit faster than we expected. Let's put him here. So maybe he's going, what do we have that at? 7 knots. He might be going closer to 9 knots, 8 or 9 knots here. I mean, I guess we can actually see how fast he's going. If we went here, it went 17 kilometers in the time it took us to go, was that 27? So I can do some quick math here. If our 13 knots did 27 kilometers, then what is his to do 17 kilometers? And I guess before I do this, I should probably check to make sure we know exactly where he's at. So let's stop here and let's see if we have an intercept. No, but he's basically exactly where we thought he would be, or where we're thinking he's at right now, right? And if we go at 7, do we have an intercept now? Still no intercept at 7 knots. That is shocking. He's booking it. Okay, so how fast is he going? So we take the 17 times 13. Which gets us 221 divided by 27. I'm going to use my calculator because my brain is fried today. I'm going to use my official government issue UBoat calculator on my thingy-majigger here. 8. He's actually only going just over 8 knots. I actually thought he was going faster than that, which explains why we can't catch him at 7. He's going 8 knots. We can't catch him at 7. That's fine. So he is going 8 knots. We know where he's at. We know basically which direction he's going because honestly, he tracked along this line pretty closely to where we thought he would be. So we can continue on our intercept course here and get back to surface. What's the best way to? Because I want to get ahead of him. This is an intercept. This might still be fine. This should still be fine. This is still just a proper intercept. Let's go back surface. And at this point, we could probably just cruise along until we can actually see him. But we know he's going 8 knots. That'll help when we get to the calculation part of things. I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and stop direct orders for a second. I'm going to set our guy to watching for contacts now since we know we're getting close. And we don't need the fuel usage when we're this close. We're kind of just dealing with some small numbers here. A little bit of extra fuel usage here is not going to be a problem. We still got the engine guy going anyway. And let's just go ahead and cruise along here and hope that we can see this guy. When's it going to be daylight? We're actually going to be pretty pitch black here. It's going to be really hard for us to see this guy until we get right up on him. Oh, I didn't change my calculations because of 8 knots. It's fine. We can still catch him. It's just going to be catching him at a sharper angle. I totally forgot to change my calculations. Once we knew it was 8 knots and I did my original calculation for 7 knots, we needed to come down here somewhere. I'm going to go ahead and start heading that direction for a second because I'm dumb and I forgot to do that. I told you I was going to make mistakes. But we will need to recalculate this. We can still catch him. We know he's only going 8 knots. Anybody going slower than 13 knots, we're going to be able to catch. But we're just going to have to catch him at a much later spot than I had originally calculated. No big deal. Let's go ahead and put you back on navigation just for a moment. It's not going to matter. Actually, we can just stop direct orders, actually. You should go back to navigation here in a moment. Let's go ahead and put you back on lists of contacts. And let's do we have to do full calculations again, I think. He should be right about here, I would imagine. Right about there. Okay, I told you. I kind of knew exactly about where he's at. All right, so he is here. In fact, we're going to go ahead and just erase everything else that we've got going on here. We don't need any of these other values at the moment. We know where he's at. We know that we need to figure out the intercept now that we know he's going 8 knots. All right, so he is right there. Love this hard mode difficulty thing where our hydrophone guy is so good at his job. Now, that's with no intercept. Now, if we were to click this button again, it should tell us approximately the direction he's going, right? We saw that happening before. It's actually going too fast. Well, I should have kept the angle on there, because that was dumb of me to get rid of that. We know he's going basically this direction. What did I have it down? Like right about... Oh, actually, I still have A2. Never mind. We know he's going approximately there. I'm glad that I didn't get that erased. And we now know he's going 8 knots. So we're going to figure out the 8 knots. So 8 knots, 8 kilometers. We know we can go 13. There's our 13. And we'll do our intercept angle again. So from him out to our circle. And back into his circle. Right about there. I guess I could probably erase that a little bit because we know that he's actually moved a little bit in the time that I've been sitting here doing this. That's not what I wanted. Sorry. Hit the wrong buttons. So we can go a little bit faster here. I hate that it's erasing the things I don't want it to erase. I don't want it to erase everything. I just wanted to erase the one thing I had. All right, we'll be fine. All right, let's do our things again. Let's see if we can do it quicker here, because obviously he's booking it. So we got our work cut out to catch up to this guy. For all we know, this is just a Norwegian guy that's not even British in the first place. But we'll get there and find out. All right, again, angle from him out to our circle, which is right about there, into his circle. That is our intercept, 27.7 degrees. I mean, it's basically, we can just draw a parallel line here, but let's go ahead and just do it all official and stuff. Up to us, 27.7. Basically there. And we can just go ahead and just draw our line here all the way through. Perfect. And there is our new intercept. All right. There's our intercept. We want to get on that course. Let's go. And I mean, this is a very sharp angle. This is going to be a bit of a challenge. I mean, I could try to figure out how to plot ahead of him a little bit. Maybe that's a good idea. Do I want to plot ahead? Get into a better firing position? I think I kind of do. Let's get about 2 kilometers off, about a little bit further out here. It's going to be really hard to see this guy anyway. Let's actually just aim for that. We should be able to get there in the time it takes us to get here. He should be right about there, coming into the edge of the circle, and we should have time to plan out an attack. We're going to go there. We know where he's at. We know how to intercept him, and we're just going to kind of plan for something like this. Try to get within about probably have to get close to about 1,000 meters just to even have a chance of hitting this guy. So let's plan that. Let's go back surface. Go back 13 knots speed. At least with these angles, we'll know basically where he's at over a period of time. This right here was, how long was this? This right here is 19 kilometers. So once we've gone 19 kilometers on here, right about there, we would expect him to be at that intercept. And we're basically already at that 90 degree. And then we could plan a better kind of angle of attack here with him basically directly off to our side. So I think that's going to be good. So we assume he's right here. I'm going to go ahead and play it out because I want to go ahead and get up here. I don't want to slow us down yet. Once we make this turn, I'm going to go periscope depth and hope... Oh, we already see him. And we see that he is Norwegian. Can't really interact with him right now. But presumably if we go periscope depth now, in the time it took us to go here, he should have moved up. He's going to be right on the edge of the circle. So he's going to be right over here. We're coming right at him. And we might actually have to inspect this guy. But we know he's heading southwest, right? He's going for London. We expect this guy's going for London. Truth be told, what's probably best, actually probably what's best is to stay surface and talk to this guy. We don't have any dynamite though. So we will have to like torpedo it standing still, but we can at least confirm that it's carrying the goods. We can do an inspection. Okay, I think that's what we're going to do. We at least found a ship. Hey, it's better than we did in the first 6 episodes of the last series. We've at least found a ship. And actually, probably what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of cut it off a little bit short here. Just so we can kind of come alongside him. We will need to slow down. All right, let's get our radio officer out there. Port this at least. Makes we might actually have to come right at him. Slow down to speed 3. There he is. Norwegian. Oh, it is so dark. All right, well, you know what we're going to do? We're actually going to cut in there. Our first episode. We found our first ship. In the next episode, we will deal with sinking the ship, hopefully. If it is, in fact, look like it's going towards London or anywhere in England. And then we will go from there. But hopefully you guys can see that I've learned some things. Obviously, the intercepts, once I remember how fast that ship... I said the ship was going. We found a ship, guys. That's better than we did in all the last stuff. And hopefully we can kind of continue to do this and build on this. Please, guys, if you do like this type of video and want to see more of these, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you know when these videos and more like them go live. Consider becoming a channel member if you want to support the channel that way. I also try to read all the comments and reply to as many as I can. And so any other ways you can support the channel, I really, really appreciate it. But honestly, just watching the video, I really appreciate that already. So thank you. May God bless you. And I hope you join me again next time. Goodbye. I wanted to give a special shout out to the following channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.